It's never too late. I wonder what Grandma would be doing now. I wondered as I walked back home from school. I was just very tired and I rang the doorbell. No one opened, and then I realized my mum was in the hospital because my grandma had become very sick. I was sure that Mum would have given the key to Mrs. Shah. She was our neighbor, a very kind old woman. I liked her because she was very polite and kind, and always gave me a pack of chocolates to eat whenever I came to her house with Mum and Dad. I rang the doorbell and she opened the door and said, "Ah, it's you, Fatma. I knew you would come and I'm so glad to see you." I replied, "Me too, Auntie. Mom has actually gone to the hospital." "Yes, your grandma is very ill. That's why. She told me to take care of you till she returns. So finally you have a chance to munch some chocolates at my place." I was delighted and went inside with her. I sat on the sofa, but something kept bothering me. I just felt that something is not right. I was very anxious to see my grandma. I simply loved her. Her smile was so sweet and delicate. I really, really wanted to see her. Mrs. Shah asked me, "You look sad. Is something bothering you, my dear?" I replied, "Yes, I'm thinking about Grandma. She was fit and fine some days before. I wonder what has happened to her." "Yes, I even feel that there is something missing," said Mrs. Shah. I began to ponder over something. Grandma was living alone in her cottage. We used to visit her only once a week. She was my paternal grandmother, and Dad was her only son. I felt pity on her as Dad never realized her importance. He gave her monthly expenses and all that she needed, but the most important thing that she needed was his time. That she didn't have very often. Now she needed us the most. I quickly asked Mrs. Shaw if I could make a phone call to my dad, and she replied in affirmative. I dialed my father's number and said, "Dad, you must have known by now that Grandma is very sick, and she is even admitted in the hospital. Dad, I think your mother needs your attention as you are her only son. After the death of Grandpa, she has been living alone and has never asked us for any favors. I realize that all of us have ignored her. We have been so busy in our lives that we have almost forgotten about her. Dad, she is the reason you are here, and if she would not have been there, then neither you nor I would have been born. Dad, I think it is time for all of us, especially you, to take some steps for her happiness. After all, she is our responsibility." I finished emotionally. There was silence at the other side. I said goodbye and hung up the phone. I was sure that Dad would understand. I asked Mrs. Shah, could we go to the hospital to see Grandma? Mrs. Shah agreed, and then she took me to the hospital. As we entered the hospital, I ran straight to the patient's room Mum told me about. There I saw Grandma lying on the bed, and Mum was sitting by her side. Grandma was wearing an oxygen mask. Suddenly the door opened and Dad rushed in. "Mom, I'm here. Don't worry. You will be just fine," said Dad as he grabbed her hand. "I am really sorry, Mom. All this time I did not realize your importance. You are a great woman. I love you so much. I totally forgot about you and remained busy with my office." Grandma's eyes started to blink and her cherry lips curved up into a faint smile. She slowly took off her mask and almost whispered, "I love you all. Remember, you can only succeed in this world by making your dear family happy." As she said this, Dad cried, holding her hand, because he realized the very moment what he was missing in his life, and it is never too late to start afresh.